There's a couple of things that I think we all hear all the time, and I thought I might challenge them. So one is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can. You definitely can. Just like you can teach older people new tricks. And there is an argument that actually keeping the brain ticking over saves off, some forms of dementia, keeps you going basically. Use it or lose it to some extent. I'll tell you a story. I went to see somebody once who got a dog that had been rehomed, and he was 10 years old. He was a Border Collie Cross, and he was a lovely sweet dog, but he'd come from the RSPCA, and it was one of those stories that you sometimes see on the news where some old dear had sort of got all these dogs in a house. She was the only person in the house. She thought she had 27 dogs, which would have been quite a lot. Turned out she had nearly 50 in and around the grounds of the house. So this little lad, and I'm not going to say his name, but he had been taken away from that, so he'd not had a normal upbringing at all. And the problem that they had was that he was just so incredibly timid that he would not eat if they were in the house. They had to go up to the third floor of their townhouse, leave him on the ground floor, and then after about half an hour he'd dare eat. I think he was kind of the lowest of the low in the pack at the house, and perhaps, if he ate when the others were looking, they'd steal food off him, I don't know. But he didn't sit, for example. And that's because, think about it, dogs that grow up around humans sit, because as a little puppy they learn, if they look upwards and the back end's quite weak, ding, they sit down. Humans love it, so they do, oh, you like to sit, I'll do that again, right? So he never did sit, never did any of those things. And we got him on the right track, and about 6 months later I got a message from the owners and said just an update on our little lad. He's now a normal dog, which kind of was the nicest thing you could have wished to heard. So there's a really extreme example of an older dog that learned a whole new way of life. It's entirely possible, so don't put limits on them. Something I hear an awful lot when people watch dogs behaving very badly on the telly is, it's always the owner's fault, innit, eh? Well, yeah and no. It often comes down to changing things that owners are doing, that's for sure. And there's an awful lot that we can do that influences the way our dogs behave. That's absolutely the case. I wouldn't be doing what I do if that wasn't true. But I don't really blame people in a lot of cases, most cases, because there are some really decent, good dog owners out there who often say to me, look, we know we're getting this spectacularly wrong. We know we're doing the wrong things, but we don't know how to do the right things. And we just need a bit of help. We tried this, we tried that, please help. And I think it's wrong to be unkind, and sort of say, oh, it's their fault and blame them, really. So some people are really up against it with a tricky dog, that maybe had a different past, was a rehomed dog, and they're out of their depths, Doesn't make them bad people. Makes them people that need a bit of help. So is it always down to the owners? Not always. Is there a lot we can do to influence their dogs? Yes. Should we blame people when they get it wrong? No. We should be kind. I want to tell you a little tale about tails. See what I did there? So what I'm going to do is talk about dog tails, because there's this thing, a myth really, that when a dog's wagging their tail, it's always happy, right? Not always. Usually, yeah. So when they're doing that whole body wag and the tail's going with it, like that, it really is that, oh, welcome home, Dad. I didn't think I'd see you ever again. So I've only been to the co-op. That whole picture is what I'm looking at, right? But there's a different kind of wag as well. German Shepherds, for example, the kind that are working with the police, and when they're deciding whether or not they're going to have somebody, their tail's doing this. It's like, swish, will I bite you or not? And it is that whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It's a bit sinister. It's a waggy tail, but it ain't a good one, I can't understand it. The last thing he was doing before he bit me was wagging his tail. How many times have I heard that? So don't think just about the waggy tail, think about the whole picture you're looking at. Yeah, there's whole body wag and there's no, not very happy wag at all. There's wags and there's wags. And I am not talking about footballers and their other halves.